Okay, you're all very welcome. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Cool, because I don't get a microphone tonight. Okay, these guys get the microphone because they're enlightened. I don't get a microphone. So, yeah, welcome to Positive Nights. Tonight we're going to have a fascinating conversation. I can already feel it kind of brewing in me. Do a lot of people here know the work that Gar has been doing and Eva has been doing? Let me see a show of hands so I can see who's... Okay, so a good few people who are familiar with the work. Okay, great. That's really cool. So we begin how we always do. We're just going to do a short centering meditation, okay? And then we'll begin. What we're going to do tonight is I'm going to have a chat with the guys for about 45 minutes. And then in the second half, you're going to do, if you fancy it, one-on-one darshan for the second half, okay? So you're all going to leave enlightened for tomorrow. Okay, you'll be living in another dimension from now on. I'm going to take my shoes off for the meditation. Feel free to do so. And I'm just going to ask you all to drop into your heart center. So take the energy from your head and feel it just shift into your heart center. You close your eyes or put your hand on your heart if that feels good. And as a group now, we're going to drop in and just take a couple of breaths into our heart center to activate that energy. And just put a bit of emphasis on the out breath. Just feel your body really relax as you breathe out. And feel the energy now move from that place of thinking. So you're moving from your mind into your heart. So you're moving from thinking into feeling. So just really sit with how you're feeling right now. And check in with yourself. And really feel your heart now getting activated. That you're in the space of feeling. You're in a place of non-judgment. Just pure heart space. And as you feel that getting activated in yourself, feel it in the room now, getting activated in each heart in the room. And feel your own connection with each heart in the room. And feel that now merging into a feeling of oneness. Of connection. And tap into the currency of that now, as it flows between us all. And now just get a feeling of a little light going on in your heart center, kind of pure white light in your heart center. And feel that energy of light fill the room now and purify the space and purify you in the space. So we're surrounded by white light. And now we'll take a couple more breaths into the heart center again. And on the out breath, feel your whole body relax. And I invite you now to stay in this space for the evening, to take away whatever resonates and just let go of the rest. So no need to go into the mind again. The mind is a different frequency. Stay in the heart frequency. Tap into your own openness, your non-judgment. Tap into that energy. And we'll take one more breath as a group together. And when you're ready, put a big smile on your face and open your eyes. It's a good thing to do to start, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Sets the stage.
It's really good.
You're all very welcome, and my guest tonight is Gareth Duignam and Eva Müller. Duignam.
I keep getting it wrong.
I always get it wrong. I've been getting it wrong for years. Well, I think we said that joke the last time as well, actually. Yeah. I said Gareth Duignam doesn't exist anyway, so it doesn't really matter, right? So let's see where the conversation flows. You know, I tend not to prepare too much, just see where it rolls. But the first thing I kind of thought about asking today was, just, you're both sitting here right now, right? And it's been a trip to get where you are, okay? And I just want to give people a kind of a context into your own kind of spiritual journey, you know? So how you began this kind of trip and how you ended up here. Just, if obviously we'll keep it as brief as you can, but just give us a kind of a little bit of potted history from each of you. We'll start with you, Eva.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hello everybody, it's so nice to be here, and I just want to start because I can see energies with my eyes closed, and when you guided us to go into the heart and then open the heart, and I could see the whole room lighting up, and that was really beautiful, so it was really nice.
Is your mic on? Yeah?
Yeah, I think it's on.
Yeah, it's okay?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, cool.
So my spiritual journey started probably 4.5 years ago. So before I wasn't really interested in meditation or in spirituality. I just was very unfulfilled and unhappy with my life, and I kind of wanted to just find something that fulfills me. And then I read a book about meditation. It kind of told me that, or I read that when you work on your inner world and when you meditate, you can find fulfillment in yourself. And then I was looking for a meditation group, and I found Gareth through a friend. And I just joined his meditation group, and yeah, and then I worked with him for a few years and meditated, and yeah, ended then eventually up here.
Now you're sitting up here with him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that mic working okay?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
You need to go
a bit closer.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, a bit closer.
Perfect.
There's kind of a perfect balance
Yeah,
with it,
okay.
otherwise it gets
I get it
feedback.
now.
Okay. And Gar, your potted history, what's that like?
Okay, where do you want me to start from?
I suppose the whole, you know, how you got into the whole spiritual kind of trip.
Very similar to what Eva just said. There was something in me that wasn't happy. It was like I couldn't find lasting happiness in the outside world. There was a sort of a dejection going on. Like from the moment I was, like my earliest memories as a child, I just wasn't happy. And it led me to seek something else.
And that's it. That's why you got on.
I mean, it brought me to meditation. It brought me to wanting. I had a big fear of death and dying, and I wanted to understand what happened when we died, and was there an afterlife? And then that led me to explore out-of-body experiences.
Yeah.
So early on, that was a big thing that happened for me. I started being able to leave my body and to explore consciousness without the physical form.
Yeah. And a big part of the, you know, the work when we first kind of crossed each other's paths was through Tom Campbell, who does the virtual reality stuff, you know. And I kind of wanted to start there about the whole, you know, in spiritual circles now, everybody that I speak to and interview is saying it's really an inside job, you know. How you feel on the inside will shape the reality on the outside, you know. So it seems, and we said this the other day, we had a brief chat online, and we said this thing, I told you about that quote from a teacher I really liked, which actually Tom, who's here tonight, introduced me to Abraham Hicks, and they said all you have to do is feel good, everything else will take care of itself, you know. Is there truth in that, do you feel, after all you've learned, after all you've been through?
Yeah.
Is that where we come home to?
Yeah, I mean, definitely we're actually talking about in today's podcast about it, following your highest excitement or following the joy. Because the beingness So there's the intellectual understanding of this reality, and then there is like the understanding from the beingness level. And the guidance from the beingness level is through the joy and through how you feel in your body. And this basically guides you wherever you need to go. And this is following the joy, yeah?
It's amazing how it's, you know, on one level it sounds kind of simple, but there is a complexity to it, you know. Do you, like, come on?
It's really complex because we learn not to follow the joy, you know,
yeah.
from a very young age on, like from school, you know. You kind of have to sit, do the exercise the teachers give you, and then be quiet and not play, whatever. So you're conditioned from a very young age not to follow your joy, but to follow what's right, and what we learn what right is. So from the parents, the teacher, then later on probably employee from the boss, like the
it's a big part of our programming.
Exactly,
yeah.
Programming, and yeah.
And when I started the magazine Positive Life, right, I used to get people saying, well, you know, what's the story? Like, so you can't always be positive. You know, like I have to think good about everything. I feel shit today. So it's like, I remember thinking about that, and I said, the vibe I got intuitively was, we're talking about energy. It's not the duality that we're talking about. You don't have to feel good all the time. It's just, if you want to manifest something in your life, if you want something to unfold, the tool that works is positive energy. That's the tool you pick up. If you pick up negative energy, it's not going to manifest because it's a different frequency. It's more fear-based, it's more in the lower chakras, that kind of thing. So it's kind of, you know what I mean? Because people will reject that sometimes. You're just telling them to feel good. So when you speak about it in energy, is that the way you view it, Gar? Or is it just pure energy?
Well, it's all about outlook in life, and you can actually fake it until you make it. You can program yourself just by thinking good thoughts, by being in a good, you know, putting yourself out there, getting up, putting a smile on your face, just repeatedly doing that day after day after day, versus wallowing in it and creating more of that in your life through with your intent. Because what we put our intention on grows.
And you know, you two have been through different stages of consciousness, which I find fascinating, right? Because when I interviewed Jan Esman, he talked me through the different stages, and it went right over my head, you know, because he was really out there. And we hadn't come across someone like that before. I remember him coming into the venue and he said, yeah, I'm enlightened. No one had ever said that to me, you know. And where are you guys at? Like, we talk about it in stages like self-realization and different. Can you talk me through the levels and where you guys feel you're both at right now in that journey?
Okay, so I'm just gonna get a level. So there is self-realization, and there is God consciousness, there's unity consciousness, there's Brahman consciousness, and Para-Brahman consciousness.
Say the last one again.
Para-Brahman.
Para-Brahman, yeah.
Okay. So are these all coming from Vedic traditions?
Vedic traditions,
Okay.
yeah.
So talk me through them and where you're at yourself.
So self-realization is basically where you realize you are more than your body, than the thoughts, than the emotions. You're kind of the watcher of all of that. So like you're in the background of all of this, and you kind of see in your system, you see your patterns, you start understanding how your system works. So this is basically self-realization. Then God consciousness is where you experience God in everything. So you go for a walk, you look at the trees, and they look really bright, and there is colors, you see the energy. So it's basically everything you look at is God. It's just the vibration of everything you experience. And then unity consciousness is basically when you become one with everything. So the boundaries of the small self, they fall away. The ego steps into the background, and the small self basically gets ripped out of your chest. And that's how I experienced it. Very dramatic, but I got over it. And and then the self, then in unity consciousness, basically the self needs to integrate itself fully. So you need to know that you are the self and everything else is the self. And then Brahman consciousness is the next. It's basically becoming the Brahman. So it's not really a shift, it's becoming that. And the Brahman is beyond creation. So that means you become the nothingness. You're nothing. You're gone. You're not a human. You're not. There is no God. There's just nothing. There's no creation anymore. You're beyond the creation. And then the Para-Brahman means you're still in the Brahman, but you come back in creation. So certain things are kind of manifest itself back, like the love and the joy, because in the Brahman there is no emotions. You don't experience any emotions. So of course no low vibrational emotions, but also no like love, no joy, nothing. It's all gone. It's just all gone. You're basically like plugged off. That's how
all the human stuff disappears. Yeah.
In the Para-Brahman.
In Brahman.
And in the Para-Brahman it comes back, but different.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a neutrality in that level of consciousness. There's kind of is it like a void?
Yes.
Okay. And Gar, have you experienced all these levels?
Yes. Yeah.
And where, like, obviously you can't be in the Brahman state and function in this place, can you?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay. So talk me through your experience of them.
It's very difficult.
Yeah?
It really is difficult,
Yeah.
It's exactly what Eva just described. It feels like you're partitioned off out in space. So it's like your awareness is here and there simultaneously. And you exist kind of, and it's like the part that's here recognizes that everything that you're witnessing is a projection on a screen of consciousness, on that screen of Brahman. And kind of if you look in behind the curtain, it doesn't exist. It's all just nothingness.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it's an illusion.
Yeah. And when you had your self-realization,
yeah,
and when I read a lot of people have read your book here as well, was that the moment in the gym?
Yeah.
Yeah. And tell us about that again. That's a really, really cool moment.
So I was always kind of seeking something, but it was never a spirit. I didn't really understand anything about enlightenment or the stages of awakening. I was really interested in consciousness and meditation and afterlife and astral realms, but I never really understood like what they meant by someone having a spiritual awakening until one morning. It was like, I think it was 2016. I went into the gym one morning, and leading up to that moment, I had been feeling kind of strange, almost like I was in the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of felt like everything was kind of like watching me, and I was like hearing messages in songs all the time. I just went into the gym one morning, and I was kind of like listening and looking, and I was like, everything looks strange this morning. And the sun was coming in through the window. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I just said to myself, oh, I said, all the noises that I'm hearing, and the sun, and everything I'm witnessing, it's not outside. I said, I'm experiencing it all inside of my consciousness, right? It's not out there. Everything I'm witnessing is inside of me. And as soon as I said that, there was like a Velcro was ripped. It felt like two pieces of Velcro went like this. And then all of a sudden, what I can only describe as God or the universe or the Supreme Being literally just woke up in me and started looking out through my eyes. And there was just this sort of download of supreme knowledge that started flooding in on how it was all working. I knew that I'd fallen into a dream, into this character, and that my whole life as Gareth was just false. It was just, it was a dream I was buying into. And I knew I wasn't, it was a lucid dream, right? And that was part of my out-of-body stuff. Was I used to have lucid dreams all the time. And a lucid dream is where you dream and you wake up in the dream and you realize you're in a dream and you go, oh, this is a dream state I'm in. So this gave me a context for what happened in this spiritual awakening, but it was God having a lucid dream in me. And I woke up and looked out through my eyes. And it lasted for about 15, 20 minutes. Tears rolling down my face. And I also then started to realise that everybody I put my attention on was also me, right? But God was still dreaming in all them other characters. I was the walls, I was the music, everything flooded in. It became too much for me. Tears rolling down my face in the gym. And I just picked up my bag, left the gym. I don't think I ever went back to the gym after that. Never went back.
Special gym membership, huh? We're doing a deal this month. Yeah. Sauna and enlightenment, yeah. So, has anybody in the audience ever experienced anything like that? Just a show of hands if you have. Okay, so we have a couple of people who have. Okay. And when we talk about each different level, right, Eva, you're both saying you have both inhabited all of these different levels for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Which level do you operate on right now? Where are you at right now?
The power Brahman.
That's where you're inhabiting most of the time. Okay. Wow. Okay. And what's it like to live from that perspective?
So that experience I had in the gym
Yeah.
was known as God realization, right? God realized itself through my physical form. Okay, it wasn't me seeing God or realizing God. It was God waking up through a physical form. But my nervous system wasn't able to maintain that, so it closed down, and I was left in a permanent state of what's known as self-realization. Free. I just felt free. I felt like an uncomfortable shoe had been taken off. I was very much. I was running a business, and I was always like on the go, always wanting to do more and succeed. And all of a sudden, that just fell away. I was just like, it's not important anymore. None of it's important. And then me as a spiritual seeker started then. That was when I became a spiritual seeker.
And the level that you both operate at now, just remind me again what the experience. Yeah, but the experience of it. What's the experience? The daily experience in your life.
I feel very normal, like totally normal. There is nothing special, there is nothing spiritual going on. This all kind of dissolves in Brahman.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you feel, very normal. So life is basically just happening. So you wake up in the morning and everything just approaches you. So before you're kind of going after things, and now it's like everything is just coming up, you're doing whatever you need to do, whatever job you need to do on that day, and one thing, when you finish you do the next thing, when you finish you do the next thing, and that's it, and whatever comes up you're totally fine with it, you're totally surrendered all the time. So before you need to practice surrender, and there you're totally surrendered all the time. The system energetically is always open all the time, so life can just flow through you, it's just your experiences. So before the system kind of holds on to emotions and to energies in the system, and now it's like everything is just flowing through all the time. So we have an experience, so we're here at the moment, we're having this experience, and then when we leave, it's like it collapses, it's gone. So I have a memory of it, but I have no emotional connection whatsoever, it just collapses completely. So you don't have any past, you don't have a past, you can't tap into the past, you can't tap into the future, you're only here and now, and that's it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who are seeking enlightenment would imagine that you're going to be in a constant state of some kind of bliss or happiness. Is that a misnomer, or is that actually a reality as well?
Bliss is there all the time, but it's a different bliss. So there is the bliss of existence, and that's what we experience all the time, and it doesn't have a content, so it's not a high or it's not joy or love or anything, but it's just vibrations that are always there all the time. And then there is the spiritual bliss, and it's like the byproduct of, let's say, of like receiving a transmission, going to a retreat, and you feel high, and you feel the joy and the love coming in. So this is a byproduct of retreats or meditation and stuff like that. Yeah, so there's a difference.
I was also going to say that when I went through my awakening, I had a Kundalini rising, and I went into states of ecstatic bliss that lasted for 3 months, and it felt like it was drug induced, like I couldn't function. But it was a byproduct of the Kundalini, and when the Kundalini did its job, it went all the way up, that subsided. But that was ecstatic. Yeah.
Is that where you were the first event we did here a little bit?
No. I was. Yeah, that had quietened down a lot. But I wrote about it in the book. Yeah.
I remember sitting with you. We brought him to the electric picnic,
Yeah.
And we kind of threw him in at the deep end. So we're like, he's like, how many people are going to come to this thing? I said, I don't know. We'll just go down and see what happens. So me, him, and Brendan were in a field. Me, Gar, and Brendan. And he was like, what am I doing here? Because the music was thumping. Everybody was on drugs and boozing. And I remember you saying to me you were kind of in a constant bliss state at that time.
Oh, well, after giving... So he got me down to give people shacky pat in Electric Picnic after the last... And it was... you know, the people who came in were quite open to it. And what happened was I realised that I actually wasn't down there to give shacky pat. I ended up getting lost afterwards and couldn't find my car for 3 hours. And I was walking around the fields for like, I don't know, 3 hours. And I was like, what is going on here? I felt like crying.
Yeah.
And eventually when I did find my car, I was like, what was that about? And I was given, for the whole time I was walking around, there was this crazy energy flowing in. And I got the download that I was meant to bring that energy and sow it into the land for where all them people were. But I wish they had told me that. I could have done it with a smile on my face.
I remember me and Brendan were at the picnic having a drink or something. We were walking around. And I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "I have about 15 missed calls from Gar." He said he can't find his car.
Well,
we were both standing there going, we thought he was enlightened. Guy can't find his car.
Well, I was trying to do it telepathically, but you weren't answering, so I had to use my phone.
Yeah. So, you know, it's like talking to two people who are kind of... It's kind of like where we're all going, you know, at some point, you know, and you're kind of leading the way. So I've interviewed a lot of people, and it's, you know, it's fascinating. You know, when I spoke to a breatharian before, Gar did a bit of fasting as well, and it's kind of like you're talking to some kind of superhero, you know. And so a lot of us would probably be at the place of self-realization. I would say, where would you say the planet is at right now in terms of its consciousness level? Is it at that level, do you think? Or is it lower?
It's not good.
It's not good. Have you measured... Gar measures consciousness.
So if you use the Hawkins scale, there's a scale that measures consciousness. So self-realization, it's a scale that goes from 30 all the way to 1,000, right? And I use it in the work that I do.
Yeah.
The average human's level of consciousness on the planet is between 300 and 350.
Okay.
And in one lifetime, that will raise by about 10.
Well, it's a slow process.
It's really slow, yeah. And 1,000 would be unity consciousness.
So that's pretty high, okay, 1,000. And the average on the planet right now is 310.
300, 350.
That's the kind of mass consciousness, yeah, okay. Wow. And what does that translate to?
A mess.
A bit of a mess. Okay.
It's not more now, because the vibration is going up everywhere.
I don't know.
Okay. But it's an individual journey though, isn't it?
Totally.
We really have to remember that, you know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you look out into the external and you think, Jesus, you know, all the stuff that you see doesn't reflect very well. But we have to recognize our own power, you know. And have you really recognized that? Have you really seen, you know, the only thing I have to work with here is this instrument and this consciousness, and this is all I have to concern myself with? Or do you get caught up in what's going on the planet?
No, it's really just everything is in here. And it's like everybody, what you experience on the outside is your own consciousness. So it's really about what do I actually experience? Where am I? Because I can read stuff on the newspaper, I can hear it on TV and stuff like that, but it's not what I actually experience. We're all sitting here, we're an island, you know, and who do I meet? How are these people? Are they nice to me? Are they triggering me? How do I feel every day? So this is what it's all about. And it's not about what is in other sides of the world, because people who are there, their consciousness is there and they're experiencing whatever they experience, but we are here. And everything we experience on the outside, it's basically on the inside, but it's just a reflection on the outside. So if we get triggered, for example, by somebody, it's something that gets triggered in us. And then we can look, well, what is it? You know, why do I have it? Is it something I remember from childhood? Is it something that I believe about myself? whatever, you know, I just look, and then when I find it, I can dissolve it, and then it's gone, and then I'm a bit more free.
And how do you dissolve it?
Or in different ways. You can do it yourself. You can just sit, close your eyes, and just, you know, go into it and just follow it back. Where is it coming from? Where is it coming from? You just follow it back. There are probably practices out there you can do. I mean, I do it with my healing work, for example. So I tune into people's energy fields, and then I see the stuff in the energy field, and then I can just remove it.
And what do you think, Gar, of this?
I forgot what we're talking about.
I was just testing you there.
Yeah.
When you see, when you engage with somebody else and there's a little bit of trickiness, you know, you feel that this person, there's a little bit of trickiness, it's a reflection back at you. Now, the old consciousness would be to go and sort that person out or have an argument with them, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually quite empowering to know that it's about you.
Yeah, how you react.
So how do you dissolve that kind of stuff? And do you still experience that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, it happens.
And
a lot less.
Yeah.
But still, stuff comes up.
Yeah. How do you dissolve it? How do you release it?
I react differently to how I used to react, totally,
Yeah.
I don't ignore it. Like, a part of people, when they talk about awakening and enlightenment, they think, oh, everything's going to be great and you're not going to have any problems and patience.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot what we're talking about.
What we
I'm
talking?
like a goldfish, honestly.
Is this
So
the
we
consciousness you're in? Yeah.
We done a podcast today together, and literally she's talking to me, and I just forget what we're just get gone.
Wow.
It's like the information is here, and when you're not shared right away, it just leaves.
It just
And
leaves.
it's just gone, and then you're blank. It's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Brain fog.
No, it's great.
So everything is a pure present moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, even the nasty stuff just leaves really, like, you know, someone insults you, it's just gone.
Yeah. So the triggering aspect of it.
Yeah.
You just clear it in your. I mean, the awareness of your own pattern. You know, when you shine a light on it, you can release it.
Yeah.
But
it's really when somebody triggers you, for example, what people usually do is like, oh, I don't want to feel this. They close their energy field. I don't want this. There's resistance, and the person is nasty to me. So there is something wrong with the person. So that's how usually people react, right?
Yeah.
But the optimum way would be to have like an open system. So it means, okay, something triggered me. It's there. I see it. I acknowledge it. The emotions are arising, right? So they're coming up, and I'm being with the emotion, allow them to be there, and I don't interact with the story, so I don't get caught up in the story, and then it can just leave. It passes through, so that would be the optimum way.
Okay, to just sit with it and allow it to pass through and see it as a story, in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's an energy. It's just an energy.
Yeah.
It's an emotion. It's an energy, and then it can just pass through, and not get caught in the story, and
because these are simple things, but it's good to know them because we all live on this planet, you know, and it's constantly mirroring back to us where we're at. You know, it's a school, in a sense, isn't it?
Oh, it is a school. Yeah.
I want to kind of move into something different. Like, I want to talk a bit about other energies that you've encountered when you've been in these other realities, shall we say, or other dimensions. Ascended masters. Have you come across any of them?
I mean, my reality is here. I'm like.
You don't.
Yeah. You're talking about other reality. This is all I know is here.
Okay.
All that exists for me in this moment is you.
Okay. Thank you, Gareth. That's nice of you. What about them, Gareth?
No, I mean, I have, but I can only talk about them things as memories.
Yeah.
So I've had experience having astral travels. I have seen other beings. I mean, I had a lucid dream a couple of months ago where I connected with Sai Baba, Shiri Sai Baba, and he came to me and he told me that I had ascended. I'll have reached ascension in this lifetime.
Do you think they're like just movies, or do you think there's some kind of importance in those things?
So some of them are
Yeah.
just movies. Some of them are messages that come through. Yeah.
Okay. And Eva, do you have any thoughts on that?
It's also a reflection of your own consciousness. So whatever beings you experience, it doesn't matter if you interact with a person or with like a being, you know, it's just a reflection of your own consciousness. Giving you a message, for example. But I have to say I felt beings for a while, vibrationally, and now I don't. I channeled Ascended Masters once, but that was just like a one-time thing, and then I kind of lost interest, and now I don't know. We work with transmissions.
It's energy. It's just
energy.
yeah.
It's just pure energy.
Minus
they have
the
information.
personality.
Yeah, exactly. So before so when consciousness is showing you like a being, it's also that information, but the person needs a being to interact with. So that's why it's shown as that.
This is a thing I was wondering because, you know, I've been with a psychic or something, and they might say, there's a message here for you, it's coming from Jesus.
Yeah.
So when I hear it's coming from Jesus, I get a lovely reaction, you know, I open up more, my heart opens up, you know, because I'm a fan, you know, I have all his first album was particularly good. But he's quite an ascended master that there's a good vibe, you know. He's got a good marketing team. But I just wanted to ask you, is that just the way, like, is that actually him, or is that just a projection from my consciousness to make me feel more open?
Well, it's also what I would call the universe, or the larger consciousness system, using that form to deliver a message to you, because everybody knows who Jesus is, and he's such an influential figure in the world that if he turns up in your dream or in your meditation and he delivers a message, well, then you're going to listen to it. It's important if Jesus delivers it.
But where is Jesus in all of this? It's just the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz again?
Yeah.
Okay. So consciousness really, in its pure form, is nothing and everything.
It's everything. It's pure potential. Yeah.
Nothing and everything at the same time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's information.
That sounds so kind of, doesn't it? I mean, it doesn't sound anything actually. I don't have any emotional reaction to it.
Yeah.
You would imagine,
when you feel the energies, you will, right? So when we give darshan later on, people can feel the energy, and there's information coming into their system, and then they can feel it.
Yeah, it's a direct experience.
Yeah. It's all about the experience.
So let go of all the labels, let go of all the, just approach it like consciousness.
I mean, in your meditation, I thought you did great. It was really lovely meditating, dropping into the body and having the feeling, not the trying to intellectually understand what's happening. Just having the body have the sensations, and that's what we do. We work with energy.
Let's talk about darshan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I experienced that with Mother Mira.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Yeah.
We did too.
And you know, you queue up and you feel like you're at mass, and then you go up and you get the eye gaze. And for me, I felt more when I had Emma's hug. That was more impactful for me. So the eye gazing was very subtle, very subtle. In your experience, how did it come into both of your realities? Did it come in on a retreat or something, I think, in Portugal?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah. We were in Portugal on a retreat, and in the morning, the first meditation, it was a special one. So there was also information coming in from me. And because, just to say before, so Gareth and we started the podcast, and we were kind of thinking we would like to do something else together as well, working, because we both work with transmission. And at this retreat, in the first morning meditation, the information came in that we could give darshan, and also the energies came in and opened up the channels. So there is the channel comes in from the top of the head, and the eyes and the hands and the feet. So the darshan energy comes in through those channels, and then it can be transmitted. Yeah, and this opened up for the both of us, and then we started giving it for the whole week to everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so we did it every day. We were there for 7 days, and we did it every day for 7 days. And I watched. I wasn't sold on it I work with energy. I've been doing it for like years, but I was a bit like, oh, okay, let's see what happens. And we did it, and we worked with it for a week. People crying. I felt energy coming into the eyes. It was almost like consciousness was saying, okay, to make you really know that this is happening, we have to give you the direct experience of feeling them energies working in your eyes. So it came in, and I worked on my eyes for a few minutes. I was like, oh, that's it now. Yeah, it's there. And it was just a kind of a confirmation for me, because I'm a very skeptical person. Really, really skeptical.
That sounds kind of hilarious, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah. After all you've experienced.
Yeah. I still look at people who work with energy and go, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
You kind of want tangible proof, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your own experience.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
even without darshan, for example, eye gazing, it's very, very old Indian technique, and we used to teach it in the courses. And people would cry just watching each other without any transmission.
Because you look into each other's souls, basically. There is no barrier.
Yeah.
And this is why it's so potent, because the energy can come in, goes directly to the soul gets the information, and there is no barriers. So that's why,
It's a thing we used to do in some of the tantric events we would do years ago in the Buddha bag as well, and it would freak people out,
Yeah.
It'd be like, you want me to stare? I ended up staring into some Australian rugby player's eyes. I was like, jeez, but I fell in love with the guy after 5 minutes. We broke up last week, but it was a great relationship. Brendan, maybe put that phone on silent, actually. Yeah, because I didn't put it on silent earlier.
It doesn't knock off the
It doesn't knock off the video now. Sure it doesn't?
It's streamed, is it, Paul?
Yeah.
Okay. But it doesn't knock the stream off, does it?
So you're more looking for
Still streaming away, yeah?
store, still streaming.
Yeah.
She's taking care
Thank you. She's my new. When he falls asleep, you can look after him. Yeah. He's going into different states of consciousness. We'll put the phone on silent though, yeah. On the side, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna. Who wants to experience the darshan tonight? Does everybody feel drawn to doing that? Wow. Okay, you've got a busy night. Oh, but I experience. I'm in a constant state of. I'm at another level of consciousness. Very high. Yeah, I'll give it a try.
Good.
Are you giving it, Paul? Huh? I can give it if you want, Emily. To you. To you. Eva, I want to talk about your healing. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've had a session with you, and I felt terrible for a week after it, right? But that's a good sign, in a way. Mm-hmm. I mean, call me old-fashioned, I like to feel better after a healing, but I've been around the block, so sometimes you feel shit because you're clearing stuff. Mm-hmm. How do you work with a person? What are you seeing? Mm-hmm. And what are you releasing for the person? Because the way you work is quite unique,
Yeah.
So explain it to us.
I mean, I didn't learn it, it just came to me, basically. So it's probably, I just work how I work, yeah. So I work on Zoom or in distance, and I close my eyes, and when I have my eyes closed, I can tune into somebody else's energy field, and I get messages. So first what I do is I help the energies to flow more, because most systems are very tight, so there's not a lot of energy flowing, there's not a lot of life energy available. So I'm opening up the system, I open certain channels so that more energy can flow in. And I mean, both of us were working with transmissions. And the transmissions, they have healing qualities. So they're already coming in, they are working on a cellular level, and they're transforming the system on a cellular level. So they're doing the main job. And I basically assist, so I help the energies to come in, to go into deeper levels. And what I do is I open up the energy field more, so that they can flow into deeper levels. And then also I clear low vibrational energies, and I work with the chakras. And the chakras are just a representation of energies in the system. So they can be basically anywhere in the system, but just, with the chakras is an easy way to work. And then I clear them out of the chakras. So mostly it's the first 3 or 4 chakras. I clear past life influences and this life traumas or influences, emotional influences. And I just see basically what's going on for people at the moment and what needs to be cleared. And that's what I just clear it with intention.
It's a good combo, the two of you, isn't it? Because you do the meditation, the Shakti path, and people are clearing and they're releasing stuff. And sometimes it can feel pretty intense for people,
Mm.
So it's great to have a healing going on in as well, isn't it? Yeah. Do you find you work with similar people?
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
I send so many people to Eva.
Okay.
Because it's like there's two sides to awakening, right? There's awareness, the consciousness side awakening, and then there's the human system. And the human system, like I can work with people, help them to awaken, but if there's a lot of trauma in their system, it causes a contraction. And a unity consciousness is an opening. Your system is completely opening to everything. But if there's trauma in someone's system, they just can't. It keeps them, contracted. So I send a lot of people to Eva then it's great. It's a great combo.
Yeah, so you're helping them clear that trauma.
And also when, in unity consciousness, you become one with everything, but this can close down as well, again, when you just have a lot of stuff in your system,
Yeah.
And also the mechanism, the pushing away mechanism you have before, you can just not feel things, you can just push them away, and this falls away in unity consciousness, so you just open. Everything just comes up, basically blows up. And then some people just need help with that. Yeah.
And that leads on to my next question, that why people at the moment particularly are feeling, days where they feel fantastic and days where they feel shit. Like, is there some kind of planetary... I mean, do you guys buy into that we are at a collective point of ascension in some way, or something's happening like that?
An awakening going on.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of it's down to technology, connecting us all. Yeah.
The fact that we're more connected and we're more knowledgeable and informed, and
well, I mean,
yeah. But what's coming through from consciousness? Do you
30
feel?
years ago, you had to go to India to find a guru. Now you can just open your computer and join Zoom and connect to the energies. So it's like there's like from my group alone, like there's like 75, 80 people turn up all around the world, and all of them people, they're all going through spiritual awakenings. They're having their awakenings. And they're all going off then and bringing that energy to their parts of the world, and they're the people they're connected to. So it's spreading across the globe completely, like.
And there's so many things in so many different ways, but coming from the same source. Like, there's so many different spiritual teachers. Okay, collectively saying probably, there's very similar things they're saying. But why do we have so many different flavors of consciousness? Is it because we all resonate with different types of flavors? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, everybody needs something different. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all coming from one energy, and basically this energy, like our forms, right? So it's the same energy coming through, but through a different form, and then it has a different flavor and a different way of working.
And then people just resonate with certain teachers, and then the teachers can only get people to the level that they're at as well.
Wow. So after all you've both experienced, where do you go to next?
We become channels. That's what it is. So the whole yoga, it is the soul awakening, and then remembering its steps back to where it came from, which is the ocean. It merges back in with the Brahman, and then it re-enters back down into creation as a divine channel. It then pulls in them divine forces, and that's what's coming true with Eva, with me, them energies.
So from a consciousness level, the Brahman is the end, but then it's like more energies are coming in, so we're getting energy upgrades, new energies are working with us basically. So there's evolvement happening, of course, more and more, but just different now. There's always growth, always expansion, so this never stops.
Okay.
But it's not us doing it.
Yeah.
Like in a personal, it's not. I don't do anything. It's the energies do everything. I'm just here to assist them. Like when I work with someone, it's like the energy is. I don't get any information. I don't meddle in anyone's system unless I find density or something that it might need me just to open it up a little bit, help assist the energies to come into that person's system.
And the personality structure of Gar and the personality structure of Eva, where's that operating now? Is that like way in the background?
No.
You still feel your personality quite strong?
Yeah. I mean, Eva laughs at my joke. I don't know about everything else.
I mean, it's like a template, So in the background is the Brahman, the openness and everything, and it just needs to work through something, and It's
like an interface
Yeah.
kind of thing. The flavour of Gar, the flavour of Eva.
Yeah.
but the awareness that we all are is the same.
We all share the same.
So when you look around this room here now,
Yeah.
are you looking at yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's all one. It's all the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every one of them? Wow. That's quite a moment, isn't it? So, what time are we now, guys?
No.
8:45. Yeah, time doesn't exist, right? So, we'll do another, say, 10 minutes chat, and then we'll go into our darshan, yeah? And maybe people have questions as well. We'll see how that rolls, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. God. Source. What we're all coming from. What's your sense of it? What is it?
So we all have a spark of God in us. It's part of our soul. And this is actually something I do, that's why I'm sharing it. I help people to activate that, so that they can feel that. It's in the back of the heart, in kind of very back at the spine area. And it's the beingness part. So we have the consciousness part and the beingness part. And when it gets activated, so I call it spiritual being, when it gets activated, people feel the God part of them, which is themselves anyways. They can experience that. So it never dies, it's strong, it has wisdom, there is no right or wrong, everything is perfect, everything is just a flow. It's really strong, and you can, like, people can feel their own energy in themselves. So this is how I can help people to activate God in themselves.
And when Eva says there's no right or wrong, right?
Yeah.
That's very hard to accept from a human perspective.
But this is what I experience all day long, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah,
There's no right or wrong.
Yeah. But sometimes people will say, well, this is really wrong, and they'll give you an example of something horrendous, right?
Yeah, of course they will.
Yeah, and it's tricky. But I get that. I actually get that one, you know? So,
Well,
yeah, there's no right or wrong.
I mean, God doesn't get involved. It just allows everything to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your sense of...
God.
Yeah.
So I had okay, so during my awakening, the very first moment I had was God looked out through my eyes. And then I lost that. It closed down. And as I was going through my spiritual awakening, towards the end I had the experience of merging with the Brahman, where my soul got sucked into that nothingness and I disappeared, and it was terrifying. And then the next night I had the merger with the Supreme Being. So my consciousness merged with this cyan blue plane of existence. It was consciousness, pure potential, love. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced, and I stayed there for like about an hour. And I knew, the sense that I got was like when you look at Krishna. Have you ever seen pictures
the
of
blue
Krishna?
being?
The blue,
yeah.
The blue. That's what his personal, that person was a representation of that plane of existence. I could feel the love, but it was very passive. And when I was there, I became it. It wasn't like Gar was there going, oh, this is really interesting. I actually merged with it, and I could sense I was it. But it's very passive. It's not what you would think. Like, it doesn't get involved. It's just there existing, pure potential. And we all have that spark, what Eva just described there, in us. We're a spark of God, and we're a droplet of Brahman combined in one. So the Brahman, our little droplet of Brahman, is our soul, and then the spark is our spark of God, our being.
You know, when people talk about near-death experience, they talk about a love like they never experienced. They feel this amazing connection with spirit. They go into the white light and they meet people from before. And when you say this kind of neutrality or this passivity, you know, passive energy, it's hard. We just have such an imagination of such benevolence, you know what I mean? That, yeah, the neutrality seems a bit strange, you know, to get my head around.
Yeah, I mean, I had experiences where a lot of love was coming through. So I had a beautiful experience where I had a merging with the Divine Mother at a retreat for, I don't know, 20 minutes. So I became her, so she went into my system, and I felt so much love. It was incredible. It was just like pouring in. It was so beautiful. Yeah. So I experienced that, but it's not something that's permanent.
Yeah, and that's yeah. Do you feel that's unfortunate, or are you just joking there? Yeah, yeah.
No, I mean it was a beautiful experience, but yeah, it's just not permanent.
Yeah.
So there's another aspect of God, which is the Divine Mother, and she's the loving one and the nurturing one, and she's also the destructive force.
In what sense
In
destructive?
the sense that she's manifesting and all of our realities for us to have the experience in, and then she's the one that destroys them at the same time.
Okay. Wow. And when we talk about so that's the feminine aspect and the masculine aspect. Yeah. Okay. Both playing a role.
Yeah.
And the role of the masculine, the divine masculine?
Is just to allow the Divine Mother to do whatever she wants.
And on that note, allow the Divine Mother to do whatever she wants. Okay.
Yeah.
Hands up the men who are doing that at the moment in their lives. I think it's good advice, Gar. We're doing a kind of gone into a different territory now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that kind of neutrality, that no attachment. And what I got from you there about both of your experiences was that when you have the experience, you just let it drop. You just move on from it. It dissolves.
Yeah.
You know, you can reflect upon it. And that, I suppose that brings me now to time, you know. Time doesn't exist, right? So I got this recently. I was watching something about parallel realities and all this kind of thing. And I was getting excited by that, you know, because I like that kind of stuff. And I was thinking, so when we look at this reality where we are now, you say we're looking at it from the non-physical, right? And we're looking at the whole time frame here, right? You know the word when we say it's all playing out at the one time. So right now I'm sitting here talking to you and somebody's in ancient Rome having an experience, right? And it's all happening at the one time. So when we go back into the non-physical, is it almost like I'm trying to imagine how this reality appears from a non-physical perspective. Is it like a giant video game with all the different times playing at the one time? And you just tap into wherever you want?
I think the brain can't really grasp that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, just from the perspective of Brahman consciousness, that everything just crumbles when you don't look at it. When you're not there to witness reality, it doesn't exist. So it crumbles. So I don't even think about other realities. I'm just here with you guys at the moment. And when I shifted, it's not that you shift, I became that Brahman at one stage. And I kind of struggled with it because I had nobody to talk about it. I didn't know what it was when it happened. And I was having these experiences, like I have 2 kids, and it was like I'd walk them to school in the morning and I'd be there, I'd be all loving with them, and you know, bye kids. And as soon as I turned my back on them, they would disappear. They wouldn't exist. Wouldn't think about them. They just vanished. And I just went on about my day. And then they'd come back and I'd say, oh, there you go, guys. You know, and I was all loving with them. But it was like, you know, my parents didn't exist. My friends didn't exist. They just crumbled. It's like, oh my God, it's been 3 weeks. I didn't even think of my mother. That's just how it played out, yeah.
Because you're so much in the moment.
You're just dealing with what's in front of you.
Do you feel that as well, Eva? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that, yeah. But it gets normal so quickly. I mean, the Brahman, it took a while to get normal. Now it's more normal with the Bar Brahman because there's just more nicer aspects coming back. But it's just, it gets normal very quickly, and then you don't really think about it, and it's just, you know, everyday experience. So.
Yeah, what I'm feeling, even as sometimes when I'm asking the questions, is my human perspective trying to get a handle on something.
Can't.
And for you, that I can see in both of you that you don't do that anymore, in a sense. No. It just kind of falls away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's death.
It's a death.
Yeah.
Yeah. A death of the ego? No. A kind of an integration, or
something just falls away and doesn't come back.
Yeah. For me, it was like, I'm not a human. That's what I got. And the human is, it's really like, it's turned off. It's like you have plug something out. That's how it feels like.
Yeah, you know, when sometimes people say to me, I'm only human, I go, well, you're not. You're not human. We're definitely a spirit having a human experience, you know, not the other way around, you know. And a lot of us get lost in the human because it's tricky, because we've identified it for so long. So with this collective group here tonight, Eva, yeah, before we go, you're a healer, right? And you tap into the kind of, when you work with an individual person, what are you picking up in the room right now in terms of the energy that's going on here now? Nothing.
Because I'm not tapping into it. So I really have to close my eyes and then tap into it, and then, yeah. Okay.
Gar?
Really nice crowd.
Yeah.
Real nice people.
You like them all, yeah?
Really nice.
Yeah. But I mean, that's very handy, because people are asking me, you know, if I feel other people's energy fields, how do I go through my days, you know? And that's very handy, because I don't feel anything except if I actually work with somebody. I sit down and I work, I tune in, so yeah.
You turn it on and off as you need to.
Yeah, I mean, I need to put my attention on, I'm doing a healing session now, and then it's basically happening. Otherwise it just goes through my day and it's not happening.
So what do you say to people who are on this path? What do you say, like, you know, Adi Ashanti has a quote where he says, don't expect bliss, it's kind of like a destruction. You know, and that can scare some people sometimes. And people go into dark places and they lose their footing and they don't know where they're going. What do you say to people having gone through it yourselves?
Sorry, say that again.
What do you say to people who are kind of on this path that you guys are on, beginning it?
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. Like most of the people who turn up to me, Paul, they're ripe and they're ready, and they're already on a spiritual journey, even if they don't know it. Is their life going to get any better going through a spiritual awakening? Probably not. It's probably, you know, anything that's not in alignment with your highest truth will drop away. And that can be relationships, jobs. So it doesn't always seem on the outside like that your life is getting better, but it is in a higher way. Okay. He's not a good ad for it, is he?
It gets more aligned with your true inner truth, you know. So
if it falls apart to come back together in a much more beautiful way.
Yeah. So your life does get better ultimately.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're kind of getting ready to go to Darshan. Before we do, has anybody got a burning question they'd like to ask? Frank, go ahead.
Guys, it's for you. I just wanted to know.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Hey, Frank.
When you had your awakening in 2016, you were in the gym, right? Prior to that, what were you doing that got you to that point? I'm just wondering, like, did that spark just happen? I know you've mentioned before, I read a book, you've mentioned Monroe tapes.
Yeah.
You know, the recordings. Had you been listening to that? So did you have had you had an astral projection? Did you?
Yes.
Had you been outside your body
Yeah.
prior to that?
Yeah.
Okay. And was it through Monroe? Bob Monroe?
I mean, I paid 500 euro for the tapes, and they never worked. I eventually had the experience just spontaneously. It started happening, but that was like 2010, 2011. They started happening. So one of my biggest spiritual awakenings was because I had such a fear of dying and death. I wanted to know, do I live on when my body dies? And when I had that experience of I could leave my body, I could actually separate from my physical form, and I could witness my body, and I could move around anywhere I wanted. And that was so freeing, and that was like, I don't die, you know.
How did you achieve that? What were you doing? Meditation practice? Were you doing something that allowed you to do that?
Yes. So I guess a part of it is you're really like you have to have a burning desire to want to do it, to have your own. It's no use me telling you that this is real and this was my truth, and then you're going off and like, okay, I believe it. We spoke about this today, right? You have to have the direct experience yourself. Otherwise, it's just somebody else telling you, and it's you have a belief then, and a belief is no use. Yeah. I mean, I would say probably go and get the Monroe tape. I'd give them to you, right?
Give them to you for $250, yeah? Anybody else got a question?
But it was more teachers, isn't it? It wasn't just Gareth, your teacher, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Gary was the main one, but then there was Madame Mira, for example. So I meditated with Madame Mira for years. then, of course, I did a lot of work for clearing the system. So I worked with a healer. I did karma clearing, samskara clearing. So I practiced for about 6 months. Breath work, combination with visualization to clear karma out of the system. It was a tough time. Yeah,
there's a lot of practices that get us there, I suppose, you know, and they're all steps along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You had a question there? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if you guys have any experience with ayahuasca, psychedelics, DMT, because a lot of what you're talking about is like ego death, different dimensions and entities, and especially with ayahuasca, the mother figure, etc. How do you feel about that? Do you have experience?
So how do I feel about people using
Yeah, well,
plant
I mean,
medicines?
what you're talking about is kind of, it's very similar. As well as like the law of one, like what you said about wanting to figure out death, that was saying to me, I kind of got into it through that MDEs, and I found there was a lot of similarities between DMT and MDEs and the experiences people have.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if you guys have had any psychedelic experiences, or do you see any kind of, I suppose, relativity between the two?
Well, yeah, in my book I talk about when I was 15, I took loads of LSD and magic mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you have any breakthrough or anything that was worthy or
I mean,
useful for you?
not as a kid. I was just experimenting.
Yeah.
I did experiment with them briefly, just as I was at the start of my spiritual awakening. Do I recommend people do them? No, I don't. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I say if you do take them and you have an opening that there's a greater reality and you have that, that's great. But not to keep going back and using them and using them and using them. They're kind of like training wheels. They can get you started, but after a while you need to take the training wheels off and cycle the bike by yourself.
Yeah. But having a breakthrough, say with an ayahuasca retreat,
Totally.
is obviously going to be, oh, I get it, and then you can work from that.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And loads of people have profound experiences with ayahuasca and mushrooms.
Yeah, I have. But have you heard of the law of one? Just one last.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of what you're talking about, book around channeling and stuff.
Yeah, and the 5-MeO, I hear a lot of people talking about. That takes people to what we're just talking about, the Brahman. They have that shift into nothingness.
Yeah, I didn't get there, but I got to the door and it scared me enough.
But the problem is there's no integration with it.
Yeah.
They literally just shot there with no compass.
Yeah.
And then they don't know, when they come back, they're just a mess. Yeah, it takes years to integrate that shift.
Yeah, so I don't have any personal experience, but I work with people who took something and then they have problems, and then they come to me and then I help them to get over it.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah, so Emily?
About 15 or 16 years ago, I had a spontaneous experience of just walking into bliss, 3 days of bliss non-stop. I'd really like to get back there. I'm just wondering if, I don't even know what it was spontaneous in the moment, but I'd love to know, do you have any reference points for what that might have been, or do you have any ideas from that?
How to get back there?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Does it reference any of your experiences or?
So consciousness will, or the universe will often give us peak experiences, openings, great openings where I become one with everything, I experience bliss, and then that leaves an imprint in you. It's like, oh, I want to get back to that, and that will sort of lead you on your spiritual journey. It's like, I want that bliss back. What do I need to do it? Because what they don't tell you is when you start your spiritual journey, it's quite tough. There's a lot of hard work in it, and if people knew that, they probably wouldn't. A lot of people want to get to the bliss. They don't want to go through all the clearing of the negative stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Gareth said, totally. So it's something that makes you interested in going into the path, and then you just follow whatever comes up.
Yeah, and to get back there is the transmissions. Yeah.
So it's tonight then.
Yeah, well, it'll help.
Yeah.
That was it. You said the carrot the other day on the calls. That kind of
carrot on the stick.
Yeah, very good. So one more question and then we'll go and do, yeah.
You had a question, I think, yeah?
Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Eva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in relation to the darshan, I've only come across it very recently and that was very interesting. Is it an energy or is it something that you kind of, can you see into, like, do you know what you're clearing or?
So there's an energy coming in,
Okay.
the darshan energy, and it's basically doing the work, and it has the information for your soul in it. And basically the information is to merge back with the divine. So that's the reason for incarnating here anyways, right? And this is, the soul just gets this information at the moment, and it, so that you are finding the way to that a lot faster in this life. So it basically guides you then there, and it's an energy coming in, so it will come through the eyes and also fills up the whole room.
Google Maps.
Yeah, it's like Google Maps, and it also fills up the whole room. Yeah, yeah.
Very new, because I haven't really heard much about it. And I kind of do all my research and seek different kind of things. But it's very, is it very new to kind
It's
of?
ancient. They've been doing darshan for like long.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's more, I think, an Indian
Indian,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But there are, I don't know, like there are probably not so many people in Europe are doing it. But Amira is doing it.
Yeah.
A few more, but like she stopped doing it now. We were just talking about it before.
She stopped doing it.
And
She
well,
actually
darshan
stopped-
can be given different ways as well.
Can be different, yeah, like a hug.
Amma gives it
Yeah.
in a hug. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
And when you do the Shaktipat, it's the knee.
That's a darshan as well. It
It's-
is a spiritual transmission.
Yeah. And the crown, isn't it?
Just the darshan we're talking about is the transmission through the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has also a different quality. It's a specific quality. Shaktipat is a different
It's different,
quality.
yeah.
It's a different information and energy.
You described the darshan the other day as quite gentle.
Yeah, it's gentle, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a question down here, was there somebody?
Yeah,
Brian, yeah, Brian.
Just either one of you. I just want to ask. Obviously, this journey starts with yourself for the two of you, and you reach a point where there's that switch where it goes now it's about the collective. So whatever you experience, you bring it to the collective. You bring your medicine to the collective. What was the moment when that happened for the two of you?
I mean, for me, it was when I was in Bar Brahman and the energy started to come in. So when you're in Bar Brahman, you bring beyond creation and you bring these beyond creational energies back into creation. And they just started to come in. And this is also when the healing work opened up for me. So, and now it's just flowing in all the time. It's coming in. For example, at the moment, even though we're not giving darshan, the energy is coming in. When we have the podcast, when we talk about it in meditation, it comes in all the time. So this actually when it started, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's gone into the present moment again.
I've no idea what I'm talking about.
I'm Paul, this is Eva, and this is the... Yeah, so you when you start working with the collective, when you start channeling in... Sorry, Ryan, remind me as well, I'm gone... I think I've just become enlightened.
It's infectious, isn't it?
When the energies
started coming in for me,
and you started to work with them on a collective level with people.
Oh, for me, it was I had a full Kundalini awakening, and when the Kundalini went all the way up into the brain, I became contagious with Shakti. Kundalini, in its raw form, is condensed energy, and when it makes its journey all the way up into the crown opens, and that Kundalini then becomes like a field of Shakti, and that's how it happened for me.
And did you get a sense of clear purpose and direction? Well, this is what I need to go do.
Yeah. I was actually told. So like I wrote about it in the book. I was literally told I had a business. I was told that my business wasn't my real work. That was going to stop, and I was going to work with the energy in the spine. And I had no idea what Kundalini was when I got that message. I was like, I'm going to be a chiropractor. I was Googling all this. I was like, it doesn't sound like a great job. I just didn't. I didn't know what it was. And then I was actually told as well that I was eating meat at the time, and it explained to me that the meat was clogging up the energy in the chakras, and it was like you have to stop consuming all animal products for the energies to complete the journey. So I did. Yeah.
And you fasted for a while as well, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't eat for 3 months.
You back on the meat now?
No, I don't eat meat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you ready to get going? Yeah. You feeling the vibe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, is that true for everyone with the meat?
No. No. Some people actually might need meat going through Kundalini.
You're not allowed any, Emily. No meat for you now. A little bit of chicken. Okay, so will we take a little break and get set up? So let's take a 5-minute break and we'll set up the chairs here. And then we'll get going and we'll cut the video off. Thank you to all the online heads. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.